Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to yet another episode of your favorite football podcast. It's the Africa Football Showdown. Hey, my name is Okwoche. I'm live from Abuja, Nigeria.
And I am Daniel Dadzie, and I'm live from London in the UK, where the weather is indecisive. It doesn't know if it wants to be winter, or it wants to be spring, or it wants to be summer. It's sunny, but it's cold and it's windy as whatever.
To be honest, I was quite shocked to see you wearing your cardigan, at this time of the year. This is mid-April. But anyway, listen, we've got a lot to talk about today because we're going to talk about two Nigerians who have won the Bundesliga title. We'll also talk about, wow, what a chaotic weekend it was in the Premier League for some teams. And we'll look ahead to this year's football tournament at the Summer Olympics, which take place in Paris, just around the corner, that one. But, I just want to start by saying congratulations are in order for Victor Boniface and Nathan Teller, both Nigerian internationals who won the Bundesliga with Bayer Leverkusen over the weekend. And it's a really great feat, Daniel, because this is Bayer Leverkusen's first time of winning this competition. Plus, they wrested it from a team that had won, I think, 11 or 12 of them back to back in Bayern Munich.
Honestly, if anyone wins the Bundesliga and it's not Bayern Munich, it's a headline on its own. That's how dominant Bayern has been in Germany for the past few decades, honestly. And for Bayer Leverkusen to do this, first of all, we have to mention Xabi Alonso, the coach, because he's been dominant from the sidelines. Very young coach. This is about his second coaching job since he began his career as a coach. He played excellently as a player for Liverpool, for Real Madrid, and he was even linked to move to Liverpool after this season because Jurgen Klopp is leaving. As a Liverpool fan, I'm very disappointed that he has announced he will not be leaving Bayer Leverkusen. But look, congratulations to the boys. I've seen Victor Boniface's celebrations on Twitter, and they've been hilarious.
Absolutely.
Hilarious.
23 years old. He played 19 games for Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga this season. Scored 11 goals in 19 games. That is a high ratio of goals. He's just 23. Missed out on the Africa Cup of Nations in January, February, but I'm sure he's going to be a regular now that he's a Bundesliga winner. He should be a regular in the Super Eagles team. Now, Nathan Teller is a completely different case. He wasn't invited to the Nations Cup. He's only played one game for the Super Eagles, born in the UK, had played some youth tournaments for youth teams in England, but decided to switch allegiance to Nigeria when it came to playing in senior competition. So good for them. Congratulations, Bayer Leverkusen. And we'd like to see the German league open up a little bit more, wouldn't we? Rather than just one team dominating it.
Exactly. If you look first of all at the way the German league is set up, it's like Bayern Munich is a team that everyone graduates to. So these other teams find it very difficult to keep their players, their best talent. And you saw it with Lewandowski, you saw it with Mario Götze. Like even that squad that Jurgen Klopp had when he was at Borussia Dortmund, it was difficult for Dortmund to hold on to them as much as possible. And that's the story of every team that doesn't have like this huge bankroller behind them to maintain the salaries of players when they become champions, first of all, and keep them happy. The amount of revenue that the club itself would generate, if you talk about signing players, if you talk about selling players, you talk about sponsorship deals, you talk about the capacity to tour across the world and use that to in itself sell tickets in stadia across the world and use that to also garner some revenue. That's why you need big names in a team. So it's going to be a tough one for a team like Bayer Leverkusen. But look, they're on cloud nine. They should have their moments. They really, really deserve it. They've been dominant in this season of the Bundesliga.
That's true. But anyway, listen, let's switch to the Premier League now, because I mean, Bayer Leverkusen have done the business, but Liverpool and Arsenal stumbled on Sunday. What a shocker!
Honestly, what a shocker! Given Man City that lead, Man City has not led the league since match week 22 or 23. Right? It shocks me really how it happened. Yeah, because for Arsenal to drop points, Arsenal was on a 19 a 19 game undefeated streak.
Yeah.
Before this one, and it was so shocking when Liverpool dropped points last week, and when Man City and Arsenal dropped points the week before, everyone thought, oh yeah, Liverpool's to win. Then Liverpool dropped points last week, and everyone was like, oh yeah, they've left it for Arsenal or Man City. Little did we know that Liverpool and Arsenal were going to do it again with 2 losses, so that the team that was number 3 on the tally is now at number 1. And the thing about Man City is that these mistakes hardly happen with them. This kind of, dropping of points, should I say carelessly, it hardly happens with them. So it's really difficult at this point to tell, but it's still 2 points. So both Liverpool and Arsenal are at 71 points, Man City is at 73 points. So it's still anyone's game, really, but I don't know. They might just have run away with it.
Man City are in the driving seat, aren't they? And for me, it was just the way that some of these teams, that both Arsenal and Liverpool lost. I mean, Liverpool, so many shots at goal, so many shots on target, and they just couldn't put the goal behind the net. And then Arsenal, in the first half of that game, they were completely all over Aston Villa. But in the second half, that second half was a shocking second half. We had never seen anything like that from Arsenal in the last 2 seasons. It was shambolic. They couldn't get the ball out of their 18. And then, to be 0-0 up until the 84th minute and concede 2 goals in 6 minutes. It was just astonishing. People were arguing whether, maybe Arsenal were looking ahead to Tuesday's Champions League the first match against Bayern Munich. Maybe they had one eye on that. But the secret to winning a championship is playing one game at a time. Face what's in front of you and not what's coming in a few more days,
Yes, and let's be honest. For Arsenal, the Premier League is just as important to them as the Champions League. To a certain extent, even more important than the Champions League. That's debatable, but that the form that you need to gather to get to this point of the Premier League, it's so difficult. It's so difficult to get here within top 3, within a hair's breadth, and just be on top by goal difference. And then all of a sudden, it flounders. In a week that Liverpool drops points, you expect that they would, capitalize and get to the top. That's so. I'm sorry, but and especially when you drew against Bayern Munich, it's not as if you have a deficit to fight against when you play your second leg. It was a draw, and so I expect that they would have given this game as much seriousness as it deserved. I remember when Jose Mourinho was at Chelsea, he had this reputation of fielding his top players, even against teams like, relegation bound teams. Like, it was always the top guns every time, and it's that mindset that, look, this is important. This game is important. I remember when Mourinho moved to Spain, he made a comment that, you can go to Stamford Bridge during an FA Cup fourth or fifth round, nowhere near the knockout stages, and you're playing some team from a championship team, and the stadium is full. You see, the stadium is packed because here in the English Premier League, every game counts. Every game brings the bragging rights. Every game brings the important points you need to move to the top. And I think that I'm afraid for both Liverpool and Arsenal, they didn't take it as seriously as they should have. They didn't take it as seriously as they should have because, I mean, for Liverpool, I don't know what's happening with the form because they lost against Atalanta, which was not supposed to happen. 3-0 deficit against Atalanta, and now lost against Crystal Palace. So it's like I don't know what happened to us, honestly. I can't say.
Do you think this confirms? Do you think this confirms a lot of people's opinion that Arsenal are serial butlers when it comes to winning the Premier League? You know, I mean, they did it last year. It was exactly at this point last year that Arsenal capitulated and lost an 8-point lead. You know, only to finish second to Man City, and now it seems to be happening again.
Here's what I'll say about Arsenal. I think that first of all, they've done a lot better than last season. They've done much, much better than if they had played this season the way they had done last season, they'd be, you know, fighting for third or fourth at this stage. So they've done much better than last season with keeping up the pace. I will not blame them. I think that the fact that they've improved is good. And I still think that they have that premiership within them within this block of 5 years that we sit in. If you count last 2 seasons at the beginning of 5 years, I think that in this block of half a decade with Mikel Arteta, they can win it. It took Klopp, I think, 4 seasons to get the premiership. These are important points that he has dropped. I want to know what he feels his lessons are. I read his comments. I read his comments after the game, and you could tell he was so frustrated with what happened. But it's still a game at a time. Man City is not unbeatable.
I believe there'll still be twists and turns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It all adds to the drama that's the English Premier League, and that's why this is a game that we love in the first place.
So
that's
much.
We
Absolutely.
We come every week to talk about it, Peter.
I mean, I love one post-match interview that Arteta had, and they asked him, "Why do you think your boys didn't score a goal?" And he said, "Well, the reason why they didn't score a goal was because they didn't put the ball in the back of the net." Simple.
It's a difficult moment. It's a very difficult moment.
I love it. I know.
For coaches,
I know. Yeah, I think he was just trying to find a lighter side to what was a very disappointing day. Anyway, listen, let's move away from this because we don't really have much time anymore. Let's look ahead to the Olympics now. So the Summer Olympics taking place in Paris starting in June. The football tournament actually starts in July, if I'm not mistaken, first week of July. So Nigeria and Zambia have qualified for the women's game. For the men's game, it's Morocco and Egypt. And then Guinea, surprisingly, Guinea gets to play a playoff match against a team from Asia. That team has not been determined yet. That match will be played in a few weeks' time. But so, I mean, let's start with the women's team. I mean, it's just great that, I mean, Nigeria is going back after a very long time. I think about 16 years or something like that. Yeah. Zambia making it to the Summer Olympics. That is absolutely fantastic for the girls, isn't it?
I mean, Zambia currently, correct me if I'm wrong, has one of the most valuable female players in Africa. Mm-hmm. Nigeria also has a Thisat Oshoala. So that quality, again, there's a certain improvement in quality that is coming into, and more attention, I should say, is coming to the female game globally. And it's great to see that the women of Africa are also going to represent us, so beautifully. All the best to them. It's not something that I can say that I have followed as closely as I should have, but all the very, very best to to all of these teams. I want to see what Guinea can pull out of the hat. I'm a bit disappointed that the Black Queens are not there. But, Nigeria...
Yeah, it'll be good to have 5 teams at the Olympics. I mean, if Guinea can beat that as on yet
to be
named
the 17.
teams, yet 17. But from the men's side, when it comes to under 23s, Egypt traditionally very strong, Morocco very strong. So hopefully they will fly the African flag very, very high for us at the summer games in Paris. So 6 weeks to go to the end of the Premier League. What are you looking forward to, apart from Liverpool winning it? What are you looking forward to? Are you looking forward to more twists and turns, or have you about had it? Because I'm almost up to here with it.
Remember that episode? It has reached my ear.
Yeah.
Look, it will take a twist or a turn for Liverpool to win it. So that's what I'm counting on. I still think that the Champions League will have a lot of influence on Liverpool, on Manchester United, Manchester City, and Arsenal's performance in the Premiership. And so I want to see how that shapes up and what kind of pressure that is built as we progress. But yeah, finally giving Jurgen Klopp a befitting farewell. I don't know how many more seasons Mohamed Salah has in him, but he also needs to be a 2-time Premiership winner. And he deserves that, in my view. Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know where your mind is, Peter.
Well, listen, I mean, we've got Tottenham Hotspurs next, and traditional rivals from North London, of course. And if we beat them away, then it gives us the confidence to play the remaining 5 games, even though we have Manchester United as our second to last game. I mean, I'm not worried about Manchester United. I'm not that worried, But Spurs, the next game, and given the fact that we've just lost at home, to take that mentality. And it also depends on what happens against Bayern on Tuesday, because, if we win that, then it might give us a little fillip to go into the game against Spurs. But if we lose that, then maybe it begins to unravel again for Arsenal. But as we all said, it's now Manchester City's to lose, 2 points ahead. I mean, they will drop points, but I don't see them losing. They might drop just 2 points. And if they drop those 2 points, and I see they're dropping 2 points, 2 draws. And if they have those 2 draws, that means Liverpool and Arsenal can catch up. Then all of a sudden, it's a goal, it's a numbers game. I mean, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think City now have a better goal ratio than Liverpool.
Yeah.
But Arsenal is still higher because, they scored 6 goals in their last match, and conceded 1. So, twists and turns will continue. I'm, just watching the matches now like a fan. I tried not to be too disappointed when we lost to Villa, but, I still was. But, it is what it is. Any team that wins it this year absolutely deserves it.
Definitely. I think that's the point that has been made, that look, every team that wins it, any team that wins it this season is deserving, and will make the noise that you can make after we finish. But honestly, this was a weekend of surprises, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I didn't see it happening. But anyway, that's football, isn't it?
It is, man. And that's about it for this edition of the Africa Football Showdown. We'll have to cut it down a little bit because we're having serious problems with my internet. So it's not Daniel's fault. It's my internet from Abuja, Nigeria. You know how it is. I mean,
it happens.
It's quite slow, but we got there. But great to talk to you, mate, and catch up soon.
By all means, man. Great talking.
All right. Cheers. Okay.
Thanks very much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed watching it just as much as we enjoyed making it. Now, if you want to keep up with everything that the Africa Football Showdown will be bringing you, hit that subscribe button and keep up with us on all our social media channels. The link should be down there somewhere. Yeah, you got it.